Okay, and welcome back to Simply Web's tutorial on converting HTML templates through to a fully functioning WordPress theme. Now, where we left off, we had completely finished out our homepage, all working as we expected it to. Now, the next thing we needed to work on, I wanted to revisit the solutions to create the services to create the archive page and create the, so here we are, the services. So we want to create the archive pages for those and the single page as well. So, but if we go over to the live demo, this is the HTML Codex live demo, and we go to service, because that's what we're working on, we can see the archive page gives us just the services. But this, if we click on that link, it returns us to this same template. So there is no template for any singles, whether it be post types or the services, news, whatever. There is none. So we're going to create this from scratch. So this will be the archive page, but the single, we're going to have to get creative and try to work out how we're going to create that. So without any hesitation, let's get started. And we can close all our open templates here, and let's get the archive page. So if we Google WordPress template hierarchy here, and we look at this image that is created for us, we can see that, zoom in a bit, we can see that archive page is for custom post types, custom taxonomy. So we're working on a custom post type. So for that custom post type archive, we want to call it archive post type, whatever that post type is. So we're working in service to start off with. So it'll be archive-service.php. So let's go and add that into our root. So let's minimize all our folders here. So we're working in the root of our theme. Let's go and add archive-service. Because when we created the post type for services, if we go back to our include and our services custom post type, that's what we registered the post type as. So of course we want to, first thing we need to do is get header. What is it? And a blank. Yeah, get header. I just had a blank for a second there. Get header, and then we want to get the footer. So that's pretty straightforward. So if we go over to our services, all services, and click on view services, we are now viewing our services for all of these post types. So we're going to change this at development here. It's probably, that's that breadcrumbs, I think. Oh no, that's the hero. Cool, so we can change that. That's the breadcrumbs, it's working. All right, so archive services. So let's start off with going to our header, and let's fix that. So in our header, so if is prompt, so yeah, because when we want to now do if else if is archive. So now if we refresh, we won't have that there. Cool. But we want to, if we could look at is archive, because we're working on an is archive page, if we will look at that, we want to work out what archive page we're on. So it doesn't accept any variable. So we've got is post type archive. So is post type archive, and we pass through there, we pass through the post type. So let's go into, so in our header, so template parts, header, and let's duplicate this, and we can get rid of these breadcrumbs in here. Is that in the hero? That won't be in the home hero? No. So let's duplicate this one and call this post type hero. Just add a dash in there, post type hero. Let's do archive hero. Alright, so now we can do that. So let's go back to our header. So let's copy that. We're going to leave the is archive in there for a minute. So is archive, we're going to go post type archive hero. So if we refresh our services page, we've got that back. But now what we want to do is we want to go PHP and we want to go post type equals get. Is it get the post type? Let's just do a refresh, see if I get an error. I do. Let's just get post type. Let's refresh that now. So now we can var dump that post type and see what we're outputting. So if we look, we're outputting that. So we don't want that. We want the label. So let's go get post type label or name. Pretty sure it's label. So here we go. So let's try this. Post type equals get queried object. And now if we refresh that, there we go, that's what we want. And now we want the label. So in here, where we are outputting the get the title, we want to do post underscore type. We're working object, not an array. So post type label. Get rid of that var dump, yes. So now if we refresh, so now it's services. So we've got that error there. There we go. And now we've got our label in there. So that's when every post type now, because we've set that up in here, it is a post type archive. We could output to there. All right, so that fixes that problem. Now we want to bring in our HTML. So if we go into our service HTML, this is where we want to start. So we want to get our services. So let's do this. So archive services. Let's go format document with inputs. Let's go. And then we output that. There we go. So now we can leave our services. This is, we're going to have to work out what we're going to do with this one. But now we've got, if you remember rightly, we don't need to do this again. We don't need to repeat this, because so if we go and get rid of all of that. So we're, oops. So this is our opening row for all these fields. Get rid of all of that. Now we're going to work in the standard loop. Should have it in the, do I have it in the index? I don't. So this is our standard loop. So now we want to set, by default, it only returns whatever's set on the archive page under your settings, under reading. So it will only show 10 at most. So the question is, do we want to paginate it, or do we want to show all services? I think we'll do pagination. So I'm going to copy all of this from our index.php, I'm going to paste that within that row. Yep, there we go. So now we want to set query variable var of service, because we're going to get the card now. So if we go to our services, we want the card, so we want to set that variable to be the same as that. But the value, the content that we want to attribute to that service variable is post. Now that's because we are working within this. So if we refresh this now, we've got nothing. So because we're in the archive, we're not writing a custom query. We are writing a query that's already written by WordPress for these archive pages. We're not doing a custom query. We're using the core query. So if we go and var dump post, okay, we're outputting each post from that. So then all we need to do is, like we did on our home page, we just need to go get template part, and we want template parts / services card. Indent that, indent that. Let's refresh now, and now we've got our cards in, because we've already did that hard work when we did the home page. So all we have to do is pass the object data for that post through to this card, and it will go and get all of that data. Pretty cool that we did that earlier. That's saved us all this work. The next thing we need to do, if we look at the, I'm going to open it again. If we look at the service.html, below that, they are calling in that newsletter function. So let's get that. And then they're also calling in the testimonials. So let's go in. So now we can go outside of that. Right. Now we can go to our home. We can just go, if we look, we've got our home, in our home section, we've got our form.php. So what we can do is we can do the same data. So let's go here. So if we go and copy that, we could set up query variable and pass that through, but then we'd have to go read back and edit the home page. So I'm not going to do that. But what we're going to do is I want to get the home page ID. So if we just do a quick Google of that, get ID of page set as home page WordPress. If we Google that, we can see it is get option page that there. So if we go home equals get option page on front, we should be able to return that to these, pen that to this, and so that way it's getting these values from our home page. So if we go and refresh this now, so we're getting the values that are on the home page, which I'm now going to, what I'm going to do is drop this up here. Okay, so this will still work. This still works, but now what we can do, because we had this set, if you remember, when we did these on the home page, if we go to field groups, we did on the home page, services, we've got this service pre-heading and all that. So what we can do is we can go pre-heading, heading equals get field, and we can get the services pre-heading from that home page. And if we go to the services homepage here, we set that to vault to our services. And if we get the heading, we can get the heading as well. But what we want to do, what we want to do is we want to pass that home variable as the ID to these field values like we did before. So now we're getting these values from the home page. So now we can do the same thing as we did here. So pre-heading, if pre-heading, we do that. I don't know if it's the same code, so let's just do this. PHP if pre-heading equals empty. Close that PHP. We'll duplicate this line. So if it's empty, output out our services. Else let's output the, so if it's empty, output, so it's got that value. Otherwise, put the pre-heading in here. So if we've set a value, it'll be the pre-heading, yeah, that's right, pre-heading value. Else it'll just, if it's empty, it'll be our services. This one here, if heading does not equal empty. Now the reason I changed my mind in copying and pasting that across before, because I didn't know if I had the same classes and things, so we just, that's why I'm typing it out. But you'll notice again, once again, if we, it's a H1. So let's change that to H2, add our H1 class, because we're outputting the H1 in the hero. And then we can go our heading. Cool, so now we refresh, nothing should change because that is being set in the home page. And that's our archive page for the services. So in the next video, we'll do this single post type content. So I'll see you in the next video.